Hello, everyone, and thank you for being interested in this study. We are very pleased to participate in the 17º Foro de Estudios en Lenguas Internacional, and we are
Leonel Ojeda Ruiz.
and Alberto Amador Cruz, and this is our topic: challenges of the ELTBA program at the Buap, teachers' perspectives. So the purpose of this study is twofold. The first one is to investigate the perceptions that language teachers have about the ELTBA program at the Buap in terms of effectiveness to prepare students for working in real contexts. And the second one is to identify those areas teachers consider that need to be reinforced to help prepare future language teachers. So basically, our research questions are very similar to the purposes, and these are: what perceptions do the participants have about their ELTBA program in terms of effectiveness to prepare students for working in real contexts? And what specific areas do the participants consider that need to be reinforced in order to help prepare future language teachers?
Regarding some previous studies, we have that Valderas Garza, Vermont Ricalde, and Guillotti Vasquez report on a study that implemented changes to an ELTBA program in Yucatan. However, they suggest that the results be carefully analyzed in order to ascertain if the changes were efficiently implemented. Another study conducted by Johnson investigated EFL learners' experiences regarding their motivation to learn a foreign language. She categorized the data as good and poor teaching methods, and she noticed that comments concerning the teacher's methods were found in 55% of the students' remarks. In other words, these comments reflect an issue regarding the way teachers were trained in their BA programs. Well, in this case, just to give you a panorama of the situation, these studies reflect the necessity to understand what may not be working properly and to suggest changes in teacher preparation programs that can have a greater impact and improve our educational system.
About the methodology, we had 10 participants, 10 proficient language teachers teaching in the BA program at WAP, as we already mentioned. And all of them have had, from at the moment of the study, from 5 to 25 years of teaching experience. Um, there were 7 women and 3 men. And regarding the instrument, it was a semi-structured interview. And it's very important to mention that this interview was piloted with 2 other teachers with the same characteristics. This interview had 12 open questions. Related to the data collection and data analysis, participants, of course, were interviewed and video recorded through Microsoft Teams. After that, the interviews were transcribed and analyzed. And after the analysis, we have done so far, we got some emerging categories.
Well, regarding the results, after the analysis of the information, we could get the participants' perceptions of the effectiveness of the lay program in terms of the English level. So here we have some extracts from the participants. Participant 1 says, the level that they have is not that good. I believe that the practice and the interest that students have for learning is not important for them. It was not the desired level. It was like disappointing to see that they were missing a lot, really a lot. It is important to mention that the participant emphasizes this word really a lot, like expressing that she was surprised. Participant 5 says many students at the end of the career didn't know how to speak. I don't consider they have reached the B2 level as they have to. Participant 8 says, I believe that most of them do not really have the level they are supposed to. They continue making basic mistakes about grammar. They are not very disciplined in terms of learning. I believe that when they end up the program, they are supposed to have a B2 level at the end. I would probably say they have a B1. And finally, participant 10 mentions, whenever they speak, they make many mistakes. I try to correct them, but they don't care about the correction. They keep saying the same. Few of them can achieve the B2 level. As we can see in this part, the participants perceive that the level that students achieve at the end of the program is not sufficient, or they see it as something is missing because students are supposed to get a B2 level according to the Common European Framework. However, the perception of the participants is that they are not achieving the B2 level. Now, regarding the perceptions of the effectiveness of the program in terms of teaching competencies, we have to remember that this is an ELT program. Uh, the participants mentioned this. I think they have the basis of how to teach, how to prepare a class, but real life is not that. It's not the part where you go in front of the classroom, you teach your class, they are in silence, paying attention and working. And in the real world, it's not like that. They are prepared with techniques, methods, maybe not that good level of English, but it would depend on the level that they are teaching. Facing real life is not the same. In the same way, participant 5 mentions, I think that they are kind of prepared. Completely no, because we have to be there to have the real experiences. Participant 8 also mentions something related. I believe that the teaching part is more or less average because the students who know they are going to end up becoming teachers, they get into the teaching. They make efforts to prepare classes, the micro teaching. But I believe that the teaching part is pretty much covered. I think that we are doing a good job in that area. And finally, participant 10 says, I think they are prepared. Most of them are prepared. I think at the end of the program, they are prepared to teach, definitely. As you can see in this presentation, they mentioned that the teaching competencies that students acquire at the end of the program is good, or at least the perception that they have is that, yes, the students are prepared to teach in real context. Even though the language is a problem, the teaching competencies is something good. Well, the previous results answer the first research question of the study. Now we are moving to the second part of the study, which is the areas that need to be reinforced in the lay program. After the analysis, we could organize the information in two main areas. The first one is language-related areas, and the participants mentioned this. The area that they consider is, for example, participant 1, target language 1, the practices. The lab maybe needs a little more of improvement to make it more attractive to students because they don't want to go, they don't like to go. Talking about the House of English, maybe we can encourage students to get a certification. When they finish target languages, they might have like a scholarship so that they can go to have a certification of language. Participant 5 says, many teachers don't teach. Some teachers don't give classes. Something must be done. Target language teachers aren't really doing what they have to do. And finally, participant 10 mentions this. I think one of the problem is the teachers who are in charge of target language. Some of them just watch their phones in class and they give you an 8. Some of them flirt to the students and they give you an 8 just because they like you. Some of them just don't care about you if you go to class or not, and they pass you because they don't care if you learn or not. Some of them just miss a lot of classes that they prefer just pass the students so they don't tell anybody about them missing classes. So as you can see, the area that the participants consider that should be reinforced or something should be done is related to the target language. Um, this is an interesting result that we found. And the second area that we analyzed according to the participants' perceptions was categorized as curriculum related areas. In this case, participant 5 said, I think they need a lot of pedagogy, knowledge to really know what a class is. Participant 8 said, a revision of the program. Maybe instead of 5 target languages in the future, it might be 8 again. Reinforce practice in the teaching areas, give training to teachers while teaching those subjects. And finally, participant 10 says, pedagogy class. The students need practice. With the pandemic, they didn't have the chance to practice at all. They were just making material or scoring tasks, and that is not the experience at all. That is not teaching. We need to go back to the target language class 8. They don't reach the level because supposedly they get into the program with an A2 level, and that is not true. Beginners start with 0 level. It's important to mention here that this area that we analyze, the curriculum related area, is basically focused on some changes that the program could have in terms of more practice for the students, because this is what the participants are perceiving. They are lacking some practice. Now, with the conclusions, according to the information that we got, the results of the study suggest that the lay program at the Buap is acceptable in terms of teaching competencies, but not in terms of the language level that students should achieve at the end of the program. The participants expressed that two main areas need special attention in the lay program. One is the target language, and the second is the curriculum itself. In the first part, the target language, the teachers in charge of target language courses are perceived as not fulfilling their language duties or responsibilities. And the curriculum is perceived as lacking more preparation in pedagogy and target language courses. So these are the conclusions that we got from the study.
Now, well, as in many qualitative studies, so we have some suggestions for the research in order to reinforce also these results. First of all, a study with a larger sample of participants, even though we have 10 participants, of course, more teachers would be interested if, just to consolidate what we have found here. Also, a longitudinal study that investigates the pedagogical practices of target language teachers, because as you could see, so target language, or in this context, English, language of English, was one of the uh, topics that teachers think that should be reinforced. And of course, just a little bit of quantitative research. So in this case, experimental research testing the theory of more practice in preparation courses. Because also another area that teachers mentioned or participants mentioned was that students need more practice, okay, more teaching practice. And so that's it. So we really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.